Vitamin Gummies? Whoever thought of that? Genius. Strap up your seatbelt for some fun. Taken a step into full retirement home life. Number one, I've got a dead person. Should I say that? I've got a dead person lamp. It's very ancient. Number two, I am sitting in a sleeping bag. Number three, I have in my sleeping bag a little secret. Vitamin Gummies are officially taking over the world by storm. These little sweet candy treats are amazing and apparently good for you. But are they? That is the big question that I'm answering today, because I have controversial views on vitamin gummies, and it's not like an opinion. It's actual scientific fact. So today I'm uncovering vitamin gummies. We're going to be covering, do we need vitamins? When do we need vitamins? Are vitamin gummies the way to take your vitamins? What are the potential benefits and what are the potential drawbacks? And then a fun fact at the end about vitamins. Wow! Welcome back to my podcast, guys. I'm Dawn. I'm a doctor. This is Backseat Positivity. What up? If you're returning, hi, I love you. Thanks. If you are new here, then strap up your seatbelt for some fun. Because, number one, before we get into vitamin gummies, I just want to say I've taken a step into full retirement home life. Number one, I've got a dead person's... Should I say that? Anyway, I've got a dead person's lamp, and it's very... Oh, fuck, everything's falling over. It's very ancient. Number two, I am sitting in a sleeping bag because it's very, very cold. Number three, I have in my sleeping bag a little secret. I have a hot water bottle at the bottom. Oh my God, it's game changing. So my feet are on it. I'm living the dream. Usually I can't sit in this spot and edit for too long because I get really cold. So times are changing, my friends, and it's only October. # global warming. Okay, vitamin gummies. Let me tell you, okay, I do take some supplements. 3, I would say. 4. Not in the form of 4 things, right? Let me talk about my little vitamin situation. I used to take quite a lot. I used to take multivitamins. I used to take... the whole shebang. All of the vitamins were in my body. I would take the multivitamins. I would take cod liver oil, vitamin D, fucking you name it. Yeah, I was there. And then I kind of realised that I probably don't need that many. So, what do I take now? Number one, I think this is the best thing in the world. Cod liver oil. It just is. I actually have vegan cod liver oil, so it's not actually from cods. It's not from cod. It's not from a fish. So, whatever. I think it's from algae, something like that. But it's the same shit, okay? It's the same, fatty acid stuff. We can't make some of our fatty acids and we have to have it through food. So I'm bish bash bosh. I also find that it's really good for my joints. So, I sound like an old woman. Oh, wait, I'm in a retirement home. So, basically... I used to do a lot of sports. Go listen to my episode on when I was what did I call it? Professional athlete, whatever. And I used to do a lot of sports, and I used to, if I didn't take it, I would notice. My joints would get injured more easily. Anyway, maybe it's placebo, whatever. But placebo's a thing. Placebos actually work. I can do another episode on that because I have a little penchant for placebos. So I take that. It's got vitamin D in it. Living in the UK, working in a hospital, come on, we don't see the sunlight, all right? There are some days where I literally might not see a drop of sun. So it's probably necessary over winter. Now, did you know that you only need to go outside in the winter and the daytime with your head and shoulders and arms out for 15 minutes to get enough vitamin D per day? But are we going to go outside with our torso, the top of our torso exposed in winter? No, it's not going to happen. So I think vitamin D might be the one, right? Number 2, I don't know, 3, I do take collagen. that might be marine collagen. I can't remember. I should have brought it in with me. But anyway, I take collagen. This is a new addition. I don't know if it helps, but I want to try and maintain my nice, plump, youthful, plumpy skin, you know? And also I get stretch marks really easily. I think it's a genetic thing, like, and also, you know, putting on weight and stuff. But like, I think some people are way more predisposed to getting stretch marks, and I'm one of them. So I'm thinking, like, maybe if I can take collagen, it will help. Who fucking knows? So that's that one. And I would say I take protein supplements. I don't take this every day, but I do have protein powder. I usually have plant protein powder rather than whey, because it like gives me really bad wind. Sorry, I went there. But it does. So those are my supplements. I used to take things like creatine. Look, I was a performance athlete, okay? Don't get it twisted. I was a performance athlete. So I did used to take more. But as I see... So let's talk a little bit very quickly about the health, self-care and well-being market for consumer products. Okay, let's fucking go there. Because if you think you need all of those things on the market, you have been marketed. That's what it is. You don't need all of those things. Do you need all these? I'm doing an episode on face serums next, right? Because there are so many fucking face serums, I don't even know where to start. And you can't need that many face serums. Like, I don't understand it. So anyway, people just want to make money. That's fine. Like, sell your shit. We're all good. But I do think vitamin gummies are another one of those things. I think they are kind of like a marketing ploy, right? How can we make more money off the vitamin market? And I tell you what, they're pretty fucking tasty. Don't get me wrong. I've been there. In fact, Tom, the reason why I make this episode is because Tom, oh my God, my boyfriend, bought about fucking 10,000 of the things. He was eating like 20 gummies a day. I was like, dude, what are you doing? I'm not fucking exaggerating either. He bought these protein gummies. You needed to eat like 8 of them to get something like 20 grams of protein. I was like, what? Like, just eat a chicken breast. You don't need to eat this many gummies. Okay, so firstly, let's talk about, do we even need vitamins? There are some vitamins that might be difficult to get from the diet. Don't get me wrong. But I think we can get a little bit obsessed with our health, and we're very analytical about our health. Let's put it that way. I should do another episode on health technology, like smartwatches, because they are, in my opinion, a little bit like dystopian OTT. We have survived for tens of thousands of years without any of this, and now suddenly it's like, we need it? Do we? That's a whole nother debate. Let me tell you. I'd argue we don't, but I don't think we need it. Anyway, I'm skipping ahead. We're skipping ahead. Let's go back to vitamin gummies. Firstly, vitamins. Okay, if you live in a country where you can buy vitamin gummies, the likelihood is you don't need vitamin gummies. Because if you can financially afford vitamins, guess what, people? You can financially afford food. And realistically, food is where we get vitamins from. We don't need to eat a little candied sweet. That was a nice little rhyme. Unintentional. But it's like, okay, the people that need vitamins are people in sub-Saharan Africa or like remote villages, and they eat fucking rice and that's it. And here we are, we've got food at our fingertips. Do you know what? Actually, I was going to say I don't have any food in here. I do. Literally a meter away from me. Not even that, because I can reach it and I don't think my arms are a meter long. Pistachios. How many fucking vitamins do they have? Who knows? Probably a lot. They've been in there a while though. Should we taste them? Are they still any good? That's the biggest question I actually want to find out. When was their expiry date? They expired in June. It's now October. Let's just try one. Just for funs. It's the best before though, so they're a little bit stale, but I don't like wasting food, so I would still eat them personally. There we go. That's what 5-month out of date pistachios are like. But that's what I mean. I don't even need to move and there's food next to me. Unintentionally. I forgot that was there. So, do you see what I mean? Like, if you live in the UK or USA, or to be honest, any modern Western world country, you don't live like in a remote tribe village or, you know, a war-struck country where you can't get access to food. I don't think we need vitamins. There are certain people who do need vitamins, and I'll get onto that. But I don't think we do. I think we're just spending unnecessary money on all these vitamins because we think that they're going to help us. And, God, don't even get me started on one of the... I have talked about this in the past, right? Okay, let's get into it. There's an advert. Iron, okay? Right, iron, the chemical in blood. Being a doctor, I know. Everybody wants to have a problem that is fixable. And what is the most common problem? Tiredness. What is the most well-known cause of tiredness? Anemia. What is the most common cause of anemia? Iron deficiency. So when people think I'm tired, oh, I know, I'll just take some iron, right? As if they don't know that they're iron deficient. Fair enough, if you're a vegetarian, you go girl, or boy, or whoever you are. But if you're me, for example, and you're not hemorrhaging out your vagina every 4 weeks, then the chances are you're tired for another reason. By all means, go and get your iron levels checked. But Tom keeps saying to me like, oh, why don't you go get your bloods done? I'm like, no, I wasn't iron deficient a year ago, so nothing's changed. So I'm not iron deficient now. There's no point in me going to get my bloods done every year as a normal 28-year-old. Like, there are extenuating circumstances to that. You know, if you're like 65 and they have those men checks and they do your bloods every year. That's different, okay? Don't get it twisted there. Or if I had really, really heavy periods and I was bleeding loads, or if I have some kind of bowel condition or other things. Okay, it's really hard to you can't give medical advice. Like, I would never want people to think that my podcast is medical advice because it isn't, for a start. But also, you can't just look up your problems on Google. This is the common problem because it's so caveated, everything. Okay, so... You know, it might be that someone's 28, like me, someone's 28-year-old female, and oh my God, I'm just coming up with a random example here, and they have abdominal pain, but if they're me, then they have abdominal pain. Okay, well maybe it's like something, I don't know, I have gastroenteritis or something like that. But if I'm me and I drink like 10 bottles of vodka a day, probably because you drink too much alcohol. So it's like, is Google telling you that? Maybe not. And then there's other caveats. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really hard. And people are always like, oh, I've got this. What do you think? And if it's like, you can't just make an on-the-spot diagnosis most of the time, unless it's like a skin thing, or it's really simple. Like, I've got, I don't know. It's actually, I've got a fingernail problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much, you don't know unless you know, basically. Anyway, I had a look. Do we need vitamins in the UK? Now, there is a common understanding that our food has lost its potency of it's reduced the concentration of like vitamins, minerals over time because of mass production, etc. I tell you what, I don't disagree with that, as in I probably agree with that, in the fact that a lot of the food just tastes like water. And I think that's more an indication of, are you eating it out of season? is it local? Because if you're eating food out of season, like say I'm eating strawberries in winter, the likelihood is either they're farmed or they've in the UK or they've come from abroad, in which case they've lost a lot of their vitamin potential. But if you're eating strawberries from the UK and you live in the UK obviously, and it's summer, well, fill your boots. They're probably great for you. I do try to eat organic where I can, and I do shop at Lidl at the moment, so there is organic stuff there, and when there's organic stuff available, I do eat that. I do buy that because I feel like it's better for me. Whether it has more minerals and stuff, vitamins even, I need somebody to go and like test that for me. I don't know, but it doesn't have as many pesticides, so that's surely a good thing. So let's talk about who does need vitamins in the UK or any, I have a lot of listeners who are not from the UK. Hi. Let's talk about people who are from a developed country, have, we're talking Canada, USA, most European countries, the UK, Australia, as an example. Let's say, I would say an average person in the UK, I'm just going to use the UK as an example, okay? An average person in the UK doesn't need vitamins, but there are certain health conditions which would warrant you having vitamins, right? If you have a bowel disorder that increases your bowel transit time or reduces absorption through the bowel, i.e. Crohn's disease, any inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, bowel cancer, any other cancer, because cancers just leach your vitamins and minerals and calories from you. Well-known fact. Any health condition that depletes your minerals, calories, vitamins, stuff like that, you'll probably need vitamins. There are other categories, let's say older people. Older people's bodies just don't function as well, is the nicest way to put it. When people age, things slow down. Things are degenerating. So if you're above 65, your likelihood of needing vitamins and minerals is highly increased. We're talking vitamin D for your bones, calcium for your bones. We're talking vitamin B12 because maybe you don't eat as well. What else are we talking? We're talking maybe iron because you don't eat enough iron. I think there are, if you go to a doctor or get your bloods tested and you have a deficiency in iron or vitamin D is testable or other vitamins, then that's fair enough to be treating it, right? But my biggest bugbear is the advert that goes, "Are you tired all the time? Take our iron vitamin supplement and we will cure your tiredness." No, it only works if you don't have enough iron. It doesn't work if you aren't iron deficient. So it just pisses me off. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't care enough to do anything about it, but I care enough to talk about it because I just don't think it will make you feel any better having something that you don't actually have a deficiency in. It's like saying, "Oh, you're tired all the time." And it's like saying, "Oh, well, there are certain people who maybe don't eat enough calories. So why don't you, who does eat enough calories, eat more calories? That will make you feel better." No, that is not the answer. I'm not deficient in calories, so I don't need to eat more calories, thanks. Might end up making me feel worse. So I think there are obviously other caveats to that, like people who are vegetarians and maybe don't eat enough. Like some people can't get enough fruits and vegetables in to fulfill their iron levels. People who are bleeding, such as people with heavy menstrual periods or other disorders. I'm mainly talking about people like me, people who don't really have any problems, like medical problems. I do. You could say, yeah, I have depression and anxiety, but I don't have any physical health problems. So That's who I'm talking about. If you have a physical health problem, don't fucking listen to me. Go and talk to your doctor, please. Or if you think you have a health problem, go get that checked. If you don't, then great, you can come back and listen. Okay, let's talk about vitamin gummies, right? Now, I think vitamin gummies do benefit certain types of people. Number one, arguably, and I've only just thought about this one, maybe children. Imagine a world, which is definitely the case right now, probably. No, wait, what am I saying? Imagine a world where you have a child and they don't want to eat their fruits and vegetables. Fine. Maybe they have like autism. Maybe they don't like specific textures or tastes. And you can't get them to eat their fucking broccoli. So it's like, okay, Johnny needs to eat his broccoli, but because otherwise he's not getting enough minerals, vitamins, whatever. So how is a way that we can get enough vitamins or minerals into Johnny without force feeding him broccoli via a tube? Well, we can give him a vitamin gummy because children love gummies. Now, my only concern is that they do have a lot of sugar in them, which does concern me because it's like, do we want to be giving sugar sweets to children? Now, there are obviously ways to, anybody actually, there are obviously ways to counteract that, and that's to like eat it after a meal or eat it with like your pudding so that it's, you get like the whole, insult to your teeth at once, rather than like, okay, I'm going to eat breakfast and then an hour later I'm going to eat the gummy. No, eat it with your breakfast or with whatever you're having. And then your teeth only get one insult. And then obviously just check you haven't got any of the like gummy bits like stuck gummying to your teeth. Because that is another thing, like our diets are already full of sugar. Do we need more sugar? No, absolutely not. So that is a concern. Especially as they're so sticky. I've eaten them, they're delicious, but they stick to your teeth for sure, and I'm sure they get right in between and just decay your teeth. And if you're having 10 of them a day, not so good. Now the other times where they may be useful is for people who can't swallow tablets. I personally don't get this as a thing. I think most adults who think they can't swallow tablets can. It's a psychological thing, and it's also practice, I would say. There are obviously certain people who can't. People have an esophageal stricture. That's mainly it. Or like maybe children, because they can't coordinate the like swallowing and the putting it in the mouth. But I think generally most adults, like I swallow like 5 tablets in one go, and I'm just well practiced at it. But that's because I used to eat grapes whole as a child. So I don't know, maybe it's a skill. Who fucking knows? So I think there are some certain times where people do need to have gummies. As I've already, there's another thing. Obviously, if you're pregnant or if you're older, you have a health condition, or it's really, you don't ever see the sunlight, i.e. UK in winter, or Norway or something like that, where you then may well be deficient in vitamin D. But you can actually get those lights, and I really want to get one because I'm kind of like, ooh, it's like a sad lamp, they're actually medical devices, so you don't pay tax on them. How amazing. So why do people get vitamin gummies? Number one, they taste good. Number two, you feel like you're looking after yourself, but you're also having a good time. Easy. But I think the main reason is because of marketing, and people think they're good for them, but I think people think that gummies are good for them because of marketing. And it's like a great way, like vitamin gummies, whoever thought of that? Like genius. Obviously they taste good. They taste fucking great, actually. Like, I can't even just say they taste good. They taste great. I think it may, if they taste good, you're more likely to take them. If you're scared of taking tablets or you don't want to take tablets, then taking a gummy is like a step up in life. there are obviously drawbacks. Number 1, sugar content. We've talked about that. Number 2, do they actually contain the vitamins that we need? Like, you can only put certain vitamins and minerals, I'm sure, into a gummy form, and you can't put like calcium, for example. Can you imagine putting calcium in a gummy? It would taste gross. So you probably can't get calcium. I don't know. I've not actually looked. But calcium comes in like those horrible, I mean, I kind of like them, but calcium comes in those crunchy, weird, chalky tablets. I don't feel like that would fit into a gummy. I might be wrong. There is some controversy about whether the gummies actually contain the same amount of nutrients per gummy. I think someone would just need to test that. I don't have a scientific lab, so I can't tell you, but I think they're so new as well, like within the last 10 years, that I don't know if anybody's done that. I'm sure they test it at the labs though. I also think they are just really expensive. Like, imagine you had a multivitamin, although I've never seen a multivitamin one. If you bought like a little tablet pack, you would, and I did actually look into the cost difference. I think they were something like 10 times more costly, the gummies, but I actually can't remember now off the top of my head. The last thing I would say is there is a high risk of overconsumption, right? If you think they're like sweets, I've done it myself. You're probably going to eat too many. Like, the other thing is you end up buying one for hair, one for nails, one for your gut, one for your sex drive. I don't know. But then, are you actually checking that each of them doesn't all contain the same vitamin and mineral? Do you know what I mean? So if all of them contain, let's say, vitamin A, then you're having 4 doses of vitamin A without really realizing it. And I think that's kind of a concern, because I said to Tom, again, my boyfriend with all the vitamin gummies, I was like, maybe you're overdosing on vitamins, because you've got one for hair, you've got one for, I don't know, he had all the fucking parts of the body. And I was like, have you actually checked? Like, because surely some of them contain like 200% of your recommended daily intake. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm having 200% of all of them, then I'm having like 10 times the amount that I should be having in one day. Now, you can obviously overdose on vitamins. It's fairly rare, but not unheard of. I did look into it. I think the ones you can mainly overdose on are vitamin D. Vitamin E is rare. Vitamin A, literally isotretinoin or Roaccutane is vitamin A, and you basically overdose on it. So it can cause things like liver damage, which is why you get your bloods done all the time, and birth defects. So it is actually something you shouldn't be overdosing on just in a normal setting. That's a weird sentence, because you shouldn't be overdosing on anything really, but as in you can overdose on it under medical supervision and not getting pregnant. What I think is super interesting, this is my fun vitamin fact of the day, and this is how I'm going to leave you. Have you ever looked, I guess this maybe is my weird thought of the day, I often look on the back of the packets and I think, why is it 5,000% of my recommended daily allowance in one tablet? Like, surely that's not okay. What are you doing? Why are you harming me? And then I had a little look into it. There are several reasons why they do that. Number 1 is bioavailability. So if you put, I don't know, this is just an arbitrary number, 10 units of vitamin D into one tablet. Let's say by the time it's like sat in the thing and you've taken it, you've opened the packet and then you reach the bottom, and then you've taken it and then it's digested all through and like been, metabolized by the liver. By the time it really gets to the place that it needs to get to, maybe it's only 1 unit. Who knows? And obviously people metabolize things differently. So it's like, well, even though it's 10 units, that's literally the wrong number, by the way. I'm just using 10 as an example. It's something like 1,000. Even though it's 10 units, I might not only get 1 and somebody else might get 5. Now, then it's fine, right? There's also some nutrients that interact with each other. So you put them in together in a tablet or a gummy, and they might like break down differently, if you see what I mean. Also, some people need higher amounts of a certain vitamin. Let's say if you have a vitamin D deficiency, you will need something crazy like 50,000 units or something. And then you end up going on like a maintenance dose. To be honest, these things are kind of boring, so I might just stop. But those are the main ones, which I thought was really interesting. I hope that was somewhat useful. So I guess in summary, I feel like I should summarize it. Do we need vitamin gummies? Probably not. Almost definitely not, I would say. Unless you have a health condition. You can get your bloods checked now, like privately. I think they're making a lot of money off that. Again, because we have a very health conscious society, which is great. It's great that people are trying to look after themselves, but it's becoming a little bit obsessive, and I think there's a lot of health anxiety, especially after COVID. And because we know so much, we can monitor our heart rate 24 hours a day. We can monitor our blood sugar level all the time, even if you're not diabetic. There are certain people, you can get it. You can get those monitors even if you're not diabetic. So it's like, it's getting kind of cray. And then you've got all those things on the watch where it's like, on the Apple Watch, where it's like, oh, you slept really great between like 1:03 and 1:05 a.m. That's your like peak time. Wow, you should put on like essential oils at that time of the day. Like, what? Like, we don't need all of this, surely. And I think maybe we're just getting a little bit obsessed with it. But I'd rather that than people like smoking cigars. So, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So in summary, I don't think the general population needs vitamin gummies. There are certain populations that do need vitamins and minerals. And I do think vitamin gummies would be helpful for people who have vitamin deficiencies and are struggling or unable to take tablets. That's the end, bitches. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you liked it. Give it a rating on Spotify or podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please give it 5 stars. Thank you. And leave me a comment down below. What's your favourite gummy? How many gummies do you have? What do you think of the gummy epidemic? No, I'd be kind of keen to hear because, or like the supplement epidemic. It's a craze. Okay. I upload every Monday and Thursdays, twice a week. Yes, I'm a fucking crazy bitch. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. That's me blowing a kissy.